Good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I'm up at it early. Started on something yesterday that ended up being a gigantic obstacle. So just wanted to put this out there on YouTube. Maybe it would be helpful to someone one of these days, or if not, it's just me documenting what we found yesterday and what we're going through to fix it. As you can see, I'm standing inside of a building right now, and I'm actually standing inside of my basement. So I'm going to try to get down low here and give you some perspective. There's my walkout right there, my threshold. Now, you see some tools in the background, and you see what looks to be like the top of a concrete wall. Pretty much, I want to get down here for perspective, pretty much grade level with my basement walkout. Now, the reason I want to tell you all that is to tell you that that's my septic tank. That's the big concrete block cover for any of you who might be wondering what a septic tank looks like. That's the big concrete block casing top. Mine appears to be 4 foot by 6 foot, which makes sense. It's 840 square foot. I'm sure parked for one toilet. However, it's way too close to my house. They're generally 10 to 15 feet away from my house. From all the research I've done and all the people I've talked to in the past day. Mine, by law, they cannot be any less than 5 feet away from the house. Mine doesn't make that mark. As you can see here, again, like I say, here's my threshold. I wear like a size 8. So we'll say that's, well, probably say that's a foot right there. 2, 3, 4. So it's cutting it close. And I'm not sure why they would have ever done that, but that's what they did. And there's no let's go back on this in the housing world. There's no a year and a half later I go back to the people that sold it to me and be like, why'd you let this go like this without disclosing? Because guess what? I could have paid, I think, $350 and had a septic evaluation done. Excuse me one moment. I'm doing a video. But opted not for that, and that probably would have been a big problem, and ran into closing a few months later over finding this. So we are tasked with figuring out the best way to deal with this. And the reason I wanted to dig up the dirt to begin with was, you can see, I mean, there's pretty decent piles of dirt around, a lot of rock, concrete, because they just haphazardly poured some concrete right around here. You can see where I've been chunking it off. They just kind of dumped concrete, no form or no gravel bed or anything. So I've dug all that up, and I may reuse it just as fill-in. But what we're doing is, first of all, let me go back. The reason we did this to begin with is because, let's just get the sun out of the way there. Right there is a little half wall that goes by it goes all the way in there to the basement. It's like a little half wall. I'm sure to be filled in at some point, which never happened. Because all of that right there is space that could be filled in and leveled. But it would take quite a bit of topsoil to help us out with that. So that's not going to happen. But anyway, so what would happen is water would run down. There's the steps coming down off the deck. And water would run down through and run down. And what we discovered in being here over time is that this right here was all higher than the basement door itself. So this was, if you can imagine, a 4 to 5 inch cover of dirt. And for whatever reason, just oversight, lack of knowledge, lack of caring, it didn't slope away from the basement door. If anything at all, it sloped to the basement door. So, regretfully I say that this happened 3 times, that when it rained really, really hard, water washed into the basement floor. And that's not, I mean, I published a video about the basement flooding, and we actually did have a pretty good flood on the basement where it ran in through the front underground. There's a spring across the road, and there was so much water that it ran in underground and seeped into my basement. 3 or 4 inches before I noticed it, because it happened overnight. But I put in a sump pump after that. This is something different, and what the water does is it just rushes in here and it comes in a little ways, and everything's nasty right now. We've had tools everywhere and dirt, but it would rush into about here, 4 or 5 feet in, and then I just have to broom it out. And I kept saying, we got to fix this, we got to finish that basement walkout, we got to do what we need to do to take care of that, stop that problem from happening. And so finally, yesterday morning, we did a little painting job, side job, and then we got done with it earlier than we thought we would, and so it wasn't hot, and I said, let's tackle this back walkway. So we went to start digging up the dirt and leveling it out and sloping it out, and when we did, we found out, if not just, I mean, very generally why they piled dirt in here the way they did, was because they were hiding the septic tank. So, and for anybody who's doubting that this is a septic tank, I'll show you. Just pardon me, give me a minute, and I'll go around here. But right there is the corner. Right there, so that's the corner, one corner. And it goes all the way up here, and then get my little tiller out of the way. Right there, you can see some in shadows. We got a canopy up. That right there's the, for lack of a better word, that's the welded D-ring where they would hook their straps when they're lifting the septic in. We haven't gotten all the way over yet, but I did dig this up to a portion yesterday by the wall here to find out it was like 4 feet wide. It's just covered back up from us walking. So what we're going to do is scoop all that dirt out, move it over here in this low point. Now, underneath here has been our biggest, this is one thing that one reason why we haven't been going to tackle all this is because there's a hole right where the walkway turns. And this was their manhole cover, was some vinyl siding. So, I mean, we got a rug put on, but we've just been tooling around trying to figure out different ways of covering it, what we're going to do and all that. So, I'm just going to, once I get this walkway figured out and designed right here, I'm just going to build like a little hatch that's going to be removable. And that's what'll go here, but as you can see, right there, is just a big hole that goes down to a clean out for the septic system. And it just goes over, and there's a clean out valve. There's a brick right there, and right past the brick there's a clean out valve. And so that was their answer. So super dangerous. We could have, if I would have drove over this with the lawnmower, or, you know, heaven forbid, backed a truck up in here to do something, to move something heavy, or somebody would have came down through there and stepped in the wrong way and fell right down into that hole. So this also was covered up in dirt. Failure to disclose when I bought the house. They said, you know, I asked, sitting there at the signing table, I asked, you know, could I ask any questions about the septic system? And they said, oh yeah, good septic system. My father pumped it as we were working on the house. My father had it pumped out as we were working on the house. So they didn't at the time tell us where any cleanouts were, where the septic tank was placed. They didn't tell us anything like that at all. They just told us, oh yeah, it's good, it's clean, we just pumped it. So now I'm like, well, can I even believe that, really? Is that even true? But I digress. We'll figure that out when we get there. What we got to do for today. And I'm an early riser, so I've been up early, and Sony, she's having her coffee. She'll be down in a minute, and we're going to finish getting this all dug out. We're going to get all this dirt over. We actually hired a neighbor kid to help us. Got an order at Lowe's of a bunch of gravel. Shouldn't have done it that way. Should have got it by the ton. But I feel like I need to try to go ahead and get this done as much as possible. So we're hiring a neighbor kid, maybe a couple of them. They're gonna help us get the gravel from the front yard back here to the back, get it unloaded, and I'm gonna get them to go ahead and shovel all this dirt over into that low spot right there, fill that in, and then we'll gravel this. And I've talked to several different people. Talked to a retired land surveyor, project manager, highway commissioner, retired. Talked to him about it. Talked to some other people who have dealt with housing projects, and they said, yeah, you can just cover it with gravel. I mean, technically, these things don't even really have to be covered. They can just be hidden and concealed, or they can be left to where they're seen, but they're never this close to a house. So that's unfortunate. So what we're going to do right here where this drain, well, not where the drain, sorry, I'm trying to get you out of the sun so you can see this. What we've done is we've dug down. We got to dig that down just a little bit more, about 4 inches down, 4 to 6, and coming all along there, going on out into the yard, and gonna dig that out. I ran into a bunch of roots I've been having to chop up, so I'm gonna get the tiller back in it now. Just waiting on people to wake up so I didn't wake up the neighborhood. And dig that, slope it on out, run some landscape cloth all along this area, wrap this pipe right here in landscape cloth, put the pipe down in the drainage area, so that will, in theory, if any water comes along this wall and stands along this wall here, we're sloping it into that drain pipe, and we're going to drain it all the way down through there, drain it down, and hopefully we'll never have to worry about water running in the house again. So let's see how that goes. And I'll make a video as I just step on a hoe, Three Stooges style, and hit myself in the back. We'll make an update video when we get done. I don't know if we'll be done today or not, but I may make a progress video later today, or just make a video when we get done, give you an update, let you know how it goes. And anybody who has any septic issues to worry about, you can hit me up with questions in the comment section. And there's a little shot of my chickies. Sunday morning chickens. Much love.